following is a presentation of the LVIII Sports Media Network.
Oh, that would help if I add us to the screen again.
Anyway,
Welcome everyone to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by LVIII Sports in association with Godzilla Media. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the co-hosts. To my right is the real MVP of the Super Bowl, at least of Super Bowl parties, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing well, and thank you for that very flattering intro. You flatter me. Your chili was a big hit, by the way. Everybody loved it. I made a touch too much roasted red pepper soup. I froze a lot of it. I'm going to be eating roasted red pepper soup for the foreseeable future, and I'm just happy that I don't look like a scene kid from the early 2000s anymore. My hair was cut. Thank you.
Hey.
How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well. I had an extra day to recover. Got to hang out with my mom and my dad yesterday a little bit. So other than that, things are good. Things are good. We're just letting the events from Sunday kind of sink in a little bit. We need a day to digest not only our Super Bowl food, our excellent Super Bowl food, but also the game, the commercials, the halftime show, all the events that went on during the Super Bowl. But before we get to that, we have to remind our friends and family, the No Credentials Required family. I don't know. We need a nickname for the No Credentials Required fans.
Credheads.
Dude,
there it is. There it is.
We need to remind the credheads out there.
There we go.
Our social media channels right down below. Twitter, Instagram, and now again scarcely used TikTok at NoCardsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCardsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCardsREQ. And please, we want to remind you to please like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social media channels. We are 347 subscribers on YouTube. We want to get to that magic 350 because I have something special planned for our tree when we reach the 350 mark. So
we gotta get there.
Gotta get there. On the podcast side, on the audio side, if you're listening on the audio side, subscribe to the podcast on a myriad of podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, the soon-to-be a part of Google Play. Wherever you podcast, leave us a rating. 5 stars is the preferred amount of stars we need you to rate and review. We want you to review the podcast if you're on a podcast platform that allows you to review the podcast. Leave a review. We might even read it on the air. And because this is a live show currently going on live on the No Credentials Required YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter pages, on replay on YouTube, the LVIII Sports YouTube, and Rumble. We want you to engage with the show. We want your comments. And Dustin, I know it's been a week. It's been a tick, but I know you want to hear that magical sound.
Always.
And that's always requested by the cred heads.
It's true. All the cred heads want the sound.
This is the cred heads' favorite song. I got a couple more, but we'll play the magical tune. That's right, folks. Engage with the show. Again, it's a live show on 8 p.m. on Tuesdays. Again, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, on replay, LVIII Sports YouTube channel, and on Rumble. You can leave us a comment if you're watching on the replay. So, we're going to talk about this game, the Super Bowl. Talk about the game itself for the first segment of the program. And, Dustin, I'll let you lead off. What's your overall thoughts on this particular Super Bowl?
Well, my thoughts on it are Patrick Mahomes, he did what he does. You can't leave in the Patrick Mahomes / Andy Reid era. You cannot leave the Chiefs time on the clock. It just you can't do it because they're going to find a way to score. Largely, my first reaction when you asked me about this game is honestly, I did not find it to be, with the exception of the overtime period and maybe the fourth quarter, I did not find this to be a very memorable Super Bowl. This is not going to be one that we're talking about for years and years to come. And apropos of nothing, before I really dive into my thoughts on this game, which candidly I was hosting, I was trying to be the host with the most. So I didn't see as much of it, but I saw like the majority of the game because we got the food prepared before the game. Thank you to everybody who came. I was glad to have you. Thanks to everyone who brought food. You all know who you are. Some of you may be watching right now. And special shout out to Derek Ragoon, giving me a wonderful surround sound system before the game. It brought my living room to life. Now, but can we say, while we're on the subject of TVs and sound bars and surround sound systems, can we stop posting the videos of the fans of the losing team smashing TVs, please? I'm tired of seeing it. I don't. What goes through your head? How does that solve your anger or your rage at the fact that your football team did not win the game? Do you know how many collective TVs I would have smashed if that was the way I reacted after Super Bowl XL? I think it's ridiculous. People do it probably in the world we live in. People are doing it for social media views. They probably got like a backup TV and are smashing it, whatever. But I just am tired of seeing it every year after the Super Bowl. The OG of the videos of fans of the losing team flipping out for me was that AFC Championship game, the Baltimore Ravens versus the New England Patriots, and one guy lost his ever-loving mind when Justin Tucker missed that kick, one of the rare misses by Justin Tucker, and there's a guy in a Ravens jersey whose voice reaches an octave that I did not think it could reach. To me, that's the OG of the videos. All these other ones of people smashing TVs and stuff, that they're just also rants now. But if that is how you process a loss, I feel sorry for you. Hats off to the Niners. They played well enough to win, but I do think that the narrative could shift on the Niners. This was their opportunity to get it done. You have to wonder, I'm starting to wonder if the Niners will be broken up in some capacity, whether everybody's going to be able to return. But as for the game itself, like I said, it just wasn't. I think it was 3-0 for a very long time, right up into halftime, I believe.
It was 10-3 at the half.
Oh, 10-3 at the half. Okay.
Yeah,
So there was some score.
The Chiefs kicked the field goal towards the tail end of the first half because it was scoreless at the end of one.
Yeah, that's right.
And
it was 0-0. Then yeah,
San Francisco, Jake Moody had at the time the longest field goal in Super Bowl history with that 53-yarder. Then McCaffrey gets that touchdown from Jawan Jennings. By the way, only the second player in Super Bowl history with both a passing touchdown and a receiving touchdown in the second game in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The first was Nick Foles.
Okay. Yep. That's right. I remember they
that.
showed that graphic.
With the Philly plays. With the Philly play in Super Bowl 43 or 53, I want to say.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
A few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, the numbering scheme gets all. Carson Wentz was still on the team then. It was a while back.
Yes, it was Carson Wentz. Actually, it was Carson Wentz going down with a torn ACL that made the way for Nick Foles.
Yes,
and the Eagles went in that super run, no pun intended.
Yeah,
the first Super Bowl in the first Super Bowl in team history. Yes.
Yeah, but you know what? Not to plug the Belly Up Super Bowl pre-show that
No,
we
no,
did
no. Please
on
do. Please do.
Saturday, but I think the game went exactly as a lot of us thought it might. I thought it was going to be an offensive explosion, so I'll call myself out there. I was wrong, but I also did say that Steve Spagnuolo's defense has been the MVP for the Chiefs. And a lot of us were talking about how the defense are the ones that got it done for the Chiefs this year, not really the
Right.
offense. And the game was a defensive battle in certain parts. I was confounded because it seemed like, to my opinion, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, I don't think the 49ers used Christian McCaffrey enough. I don't know whether it was him getting shut down by that Chiefs defense, I do think the defensive line of the Chiefs was able to get some key pressure on Brock Purdy, who, in my opinion, did not have a great game. He didn't have a terrible game, but he didn't have a great game either. But it kind of matches the whole vibe of this Super Bowl overall for me. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't an instant classic. The fourth quarter and overtime, that was entertaining. But the rest of the game just didn't have the pop that I thought it would. My prop bet did pay off, but that was only because of the fumble by that was recovered, and there was a turnover, so that cut the opening drive short. But
Yeah, yeah. I'm like you. This was very reminiscent of Rams Titans in '99. Very reminiscent of that because we thought, if you go back all the way back to that Super Bowl, I remember it distinctly because I think that was the second year my brother, my sister-in-law lived towards Luther Forest in Ballston Spa,
okay, yep.
and that was their first townhouse they lived in. So they actually just bought a giant big screen TV, like it was at the time a big screen TV, like 40 inches, like, ooh, 40 inches. But this is not just a 40-inch TV now. This is a 40-inch tube TV. So it
Oh
weighed
man,
a freaking ton.
yeah. Need a forklift to get it in there.
It weighed a metric ton. That's how heavy that dang thing was. But I remember going over there and watching the game with them, and it was surprisingly tough. It kind of with the offense that the Rams had. I mean, it was tough. It was a tough defensive game because you figured the offense the Rams had that at that time, the greatest show on turf. It's going to be a very it's going to be a very offensive affair. And you had Steve McNair, Eddie George, and the Titans. You might have thought to yourself, oh, this is going to be it might be turn out to be a pretty high scoring game. It didn't. The only I think there was only 3 touchdowns scored in that game, or 3 or 4 touchdowns scored in the game overall. And it had that epic ending with Kevin Dyson trying to stretch out for the goal line, and he just missed it by that much. But it was that kind of game. It was that kind of game. It was low scoring. It was, if you like defense, you like this game. And I thought to myself, I'd said to a friend of mine at another chat, he said, how do you think the game's going to play out? I said, you know what? If the 49ers can tighten things up on defense, because they had a really bad game in the NFC Championship game. I think if they tighten things up and they play like they did in the second half of that game, in the NFC Championship game, they have a chance. And I was right. Because they had the Chiefs against the wall several times in this game. They had 10-0 lead, which, by the way, Kyle Shanahan once again blows it a 10-point lead.
Yeah,
both as a head coach and
a coordinator,
and offensive coordinator and a coordinator. It's the third time it's happened in a Super Bowl to him. But regardless, you gotta hand it to the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'll give credit where credit's due. I was listening and watching Cole Johnson and Drew Willingham show Total Football Talk this morning. And Drew said it best. Both teams left it all out in the field. They exhausted all their resources. They did all the things they had to do. Now, San Francisco led in time and possession, but just barely. but the Chiefs could seem to do more
Yes.
with what they had. And Mahomes threw for literally 333 yards. And he was also their leading rusher. He had nearly 400 yards in total offense by himself. He had 333 yards passing and 66 yards on the ground. He was their leading rusher.
Yeah.
And part of it was the fact that they used that one play in the third or fourth quarter that the 49ers did not see coming. Did not see coming at all because they didn't see that on tape where Mahomes bootlegs out and then bootlegs to the right and then sees a hole and turns it upfield.
Yep.
The 49ers didn't see that on tape. They hadn't run that play. And I think what it was Tony Romo had said,
yes,
they did not run that play all year. So the 49ers literally did not see that play coming because they didn't see that in their tapes.
Yeah.
To prepare for this game.
That was Andy Reid going deep into his pocket because they don't run that play. And you're right, it was Tony Romo and Tony Romo, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about his announcing. I don't mind Tony Romo on the game.
I don't mind it either. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, we're in agreement there. But he said, I think his exact words were, the Chiefs don't run this play because they don't want Patrick doing that. They don't want him going straight up the middle because he could get clocked. He could get his clock cleaned. But clearly it was working because you could almost see the point. And I liken this, bear with me for a moment here. I know a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on LeBron James, but I will say he does have a little bit of those times that Kobe had, or Jordan, of course, had them, where you can tell he just gets this mindset where he's like, okay, I'm going to take this game over. I remember a game in his much younger days, his first run with the Cavs, when he was playing the Detroit Pistons, and the Pistons were up. And that was the team that had Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups. Those Pistons teams were good. And the Cleveland Cavaliers had lost to him the previous year in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think. I don't know. I'm going off the memory, which we know sometimes could be a little wonky. And
it's okay.
So anyway, I remember watching this game, and all of a sudden LeBron just starts scoring at will. He wasn't passing to anybody. He was scoring points. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, if he can do this, why doesn't he decide to do this every night? That was my personal thoughts as a much younger man at the time. I think I was still in college or barely out, depending on the timeline. But Patrick Mahomes, I felt like he did that in the fourth quarter. He started running more. He started, I just got the sense that he was like, I'm going to win this game. And I think that's what he did. He kind of, because Isaiah Pacheco was not running as well as he had previously. The Chiefs receivers, the drops did rear their head a couple of times. And it just seemed like Patrick Mahomes said, okay, I'm gonna find a key throw to Travis when we need it, which, say what you want about Travis Kelce and everything. He played well in this game. He was there. He played the role of Patrick Mahomes' safety valve, which I've taken to calling him. But I got the sense that Patrick Mahomes said, okay, I'm going to take the offense on my back right now, and we're going to go win this game. That's how it felt to me. I don't know if you agree, but it felt like there was a shift where he's just like, okay, nothing's working. I'm going to run it,
No. I mean, some of his runs were, to be fair, under duress because the pass rush of the 49ers was working to an extent.
Yeah.
Was working to an extent, and they got him out of the pocket. They got him rolling out of the pocket a couple times and forced him to make bad passes. He threw that one bad interception at the beginning of the third quarter, which I thought if the 49ers could have capitalized on that, it would have been an entirely different game.
Yes.
Credit where credit's due.
They did nothing with that. Yeah.
Give credit where credit's due. The Chiefs defense, like they have been all playoffs, they have all season long, especially in the last half of the season, that defense showed up at the right time. That defense showed up. I said, okay, they forced a turnover on us. We got to get the ball back. And that's what they did. They got the ball back. And I mean, granted, the Chiefs started, or at that point, the Chiefs started at literally their own 1 yard line. and that beautiful punt and coverage kick. And that coverage, but it was kind of back and forth for a bit. And in the fourth quarter, the third quarter is when you start to see the tide turn. And part of it was that it was a muff on special teams. It was that muff where the Chiefs punt the ball, it hits the ball hits the foot, it bounces off a foot of a 49ers player named Ray McLeod, one of the best names in pro football, by the way.
Yeah.
Tries to make something of it and try to pick it up, and he can't hold on to it. And then special teams comes in, and that was a play that I think turned the tide for that game. And when in the muff had the unfortunate bounce off the foot, which turned into a muff, which turned into a fumble recovery. Chiefs go in, they score, and it's a brand new ball game. It's a brand new ball game because at that point, things were starting to, things were just starting to progress for the Chiefs. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling gets that touchdown reception, one play. That's all it took. The fumble recovery, one play. 49ers, to their credit, responded on the next series with Juwan Jennings getting that touchdown from Brock Purdy. But then we had the block on the conversion by Leo Chenal. He blocks the extra point. Chiefs could have gone up by one at that point, but then it doesn't happen. It winds up being tied at 16. And teams trade field goals. We go to overtime, and the overtime period, there was speculation. There was speculation that a lot of the 49ers didn't know about the new overtime rules, where they go downfield, they kick the field goal. Chiefs can get the ball back. This is the first game since the new overtime rule was put in place after 2021. I want to say because that was after that epic Chiefs-Bills game,
in
Arrowhead in the divisional. This is the first time we've had the rule come into place where if you get the ball first, kick a field goal, game doesn't end. The game doesnn't end. You can give it right back to the other team, and they can score a touchdown and win the game, or tie it to keep the game going. There was speculation that a lot of the 49ers players or the coaches didn't know the rule. That's speculation. I guess Kyle Shanahan came out today and said, "Nope, we knew the rule. We knew the rule. We knew this was supposed to happen according to the rules committee because of the new overtime rule for the playoffs." But the Chiefs apparently had practiced this situation over the course of the season. Like they knew they were going to be at this particular point in the season, and and if the game would go to overtime at any time in the playoffs, including the Super Bowl, they had this situation in mind where they give the ball to the other team. They knew they let them have the ball first. They knew if they could score, or at least if the other team scored a touchdown, or at least the defense could hold the other team to a field goal, which is exactly what they did. They knew what they could do to go down the field, score a touchdown, and win the whole dang thing. And that's what they did. That's what they did.
And the pass was to Kadarius Toney. That am I thinking of the wrong?
It was former New York Jets great Mecole Hardman.
Mecole. So what am I thinking? Did they run a similar play?
They ran the exact same play last year to tie the score at 35.
Yeah. Okay.
That little sheet motion, and then Mahomes bootlegs it, and they run that short route to the outside. And actually, that was the play that was the play that Tony scored on last year.
Yeah,
they must have run it multiple times.
Yeah, I think so, because that's where I was getting my wires crossed, because I knew they had run it before, but that's right. I could not forget because you and Scott, I think, both said, "Oh, Mecole Hardman," and then you had your comments about his tenure on the Jets. Memorable though it was.
Yeah, I think 2 receptions with the team, and that was pretty much it. And they traded him for send him back to Kansas City for a 6th round pick in next year's draft. And yeah, guess what happened? He wins the Super Bowl again. So
Yeah, there he
must
is.
be nice. Must
You
be
know,
nice.
and but that's the thing. Yeah, so I stepped all over myself again, and I can't believe that we mentioned the 1999 Super Bowl without me getting a Frank Wycheck reference in there. That would be the perfect place because he was on that Titans team. But
I heard
anyway,
Stan Weiss was also a coach in that
yeah,
team.
he was a special teams coach at the time. No, anyway, I did enjoy the fourth quarter. I did enjoy overtime, and I always find something to enjoy about the Super Bowl, notwithstanding XL. No, even XL was a nice experience because Schmitty, if he's watching tonight, because last time I mentioned his name, he popped right up in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
He and a bunch of my other friends, they had a little, they had a little setup for me. They all acted like they weren't rooting for the Seahawks, but I went over to his house to watch the game with him and some other people, and they had cupcakes, so like Seahawk cupcakes and stuff. It was very cool. So even I have fond memories of that Super Bowl, despite what happened during that Super Bowl. I always find something to enjoy about the Super Bowl, but for me, this year's Super Bowl especially was more I didn't really care. I just wanted a good game, a close game.
Yeah.
I didn't
Same.
care about the outcome, but for me this year's Super Bowl was much more about the company and making sure everybody had what they needed and the squares. I was hoping that maybe one of these years I've been hosting the Super Bowl in some form for the last almost 13 years, and I've never won squares one time. so I was hoping, but it was nice because my name was actually mentioned towards the end of the game. I was like, oh, that's one of his squares, and I'm like, oh, this never happens.
Yeah, I think it was when it was 1916 in
Yeah.
overtime.
Yep.
And I'm
Yep.
pretty sure you were hoping and praying that's how the score would wind up.
I was hoping. I was
Yeah.
hoping. Who doesn't like a little extra cheddar? I was hoping for some,
Hey.
but yeah, there's nothing that sticks out to me unless you're a Chiefs and or Niners fans. The Niners fans, I've seen some of it today talking about how they got screwed, a couple no call holding penalties and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to have a little bit of that. So the Niners fans, they'll remember this game. The Chiefs fans will remember this game. They'll find something. They'll find something memorable about it. But for the rest of us, this will not go down in the annals of history as great Super Bowls. Honestly, from this Super Bowl, my biggest memory will be the Dunk Kings commercial.
Yeah, we'll talk about the ads in our next segment, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a good Super Bowl, but it wasn't a bad Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, unless you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, there's nothing really to write home about in this game. It was
Mhm.
a slow moving first half. Both teams committed turnovers at the worst while driving towards the end inside their other opponent's red zone, I believe, because the first possession of the game, that was Christian McCaffrey fumbled. And I
Yep.
think that was just outside the red zone. But then the Chiefs go down the field. Chiefs get a fortuitous opportunity. They go marching down the field. Pacheco fumbles inside the 5 or the 10, and all of a sudden you see this cut of Travis Kelce chewing out Andy Reid and bumping into
Yeah.
him, and it's
Bumping
like
them. Yeah.
not only just chewing him up, but bumping him. It made a great meme. I mean, that's how I made the announcement that we're going to be back tomorrow night on Twitter, on our Twitter channel. But I guess Andy Reid was said, all is forgiven, especially since they won the game. It's an athlete; he's in the heat of the moment. We're just guys competing, and we're just trying to get the job done. And I understand if he was heated, but I guess he wanted to stay out there for that particular play.
Yeah.
That's why he was mad.
Yeah, I'm guessing because it was the tight end that caused that because the tight end that was in Kelsey's place had a little trouble blocking, and that caused that turnover there. So I'm thinking part of it was Travis probably felt that he could maybe block a little bit a little bit more efficiently, not taking shots at this the tight end that was in there at the time. He's in the NFL, and I'm sitting in my house talking into a microphone. So, hey, but
yeah, but we're fans. We're allowed that right to talk about the game. We're allowed
yes,
to talk
of
about what
course.
transpired. I mean, like I said, it made a great meme, and people are still using it a couple days afterwards. I mean, I made one of why did J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy kill off Han Solo? That was one of mine. That was one of the mines I made of Travis Kelce yelling at Andy Reid.
Oh yeah.
So why did J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy kill off Han Solo? which is something I'm still wondering about today myself. All right, so we'll take a quick commercial break. Before we do that, let's go to the comment section. It's pretty active tonight. Of course, Satna chiming in with Sports Ball. Our Sports Ball comment. She gave me the inspiration to either create a new segment or rebrand No Credentials Required.
Okay.
To call it This Week in Sports Ball.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good idea. But that sounds like a segment to me.
A segment or a spinoff?
Yeah, a spinoff of the show because now that we have the cred heads, strap the rocket to us. We're going. We're going
higher.
You, us, and all the cred heads out there, we're going with you, and because of you.
Come on, Sapna, let's go along. Let's go. She also gives us the pink hand waving as well as Jersey G. Julie from Michigan says hi.
Hello,
she also
Julie.
says the Lions beat the Chiefs. Just saying.
They did. Week one. That
was all the way in September, Julie. None of us were alive back then, okay? She also says must suck to have a great first half and then implode in the second half. Ooh.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what that's like, right?
Shade. Oh man. Julie's getting shady. She's also got the Mortons because it's a little salty. Jersey G says, okay, but the guy has done this to Coach Reid several times before. Look, Jersey G, I get it. You're a BYU fan. Andy Reid's a BYU guy. But I get it.
Well, and while we're on the subject, shout out to Andrew Reid. Glad you're healthy.
Yeah.
Glad you're okay.
Speaking of Drew Willingham, he says, "What's up, fellas?
There
What's
he
up,
is,
Drew?" He also says this week in Sports Ball is already taken. Dang it,
man!
Dang it!
All right, then we'll make it a segment. If we put it in the show, they can't stop us.
No, I think it's referring to John Boy's things you might have missed, but that we're really paying attention to. Like that's a thing on his channel. I like it. I've watched it. It's good. It's good. It's a good segment. Not a good segment, but a good. It's a good video that he does. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the ads, and we'll talk about Usher. Oh, here we go. He says, make it a segment, and you'll fly under the radar. See?
Yeah.
Oh, and Jersey G Surfing herself says, I promise if Coach Reid wasn't BYU alum, I'd have the same reaction. I get it. Yeah.
Well, you and me both, Jersey G, because I was talking to Ryan before the game, and I said, Jason Kelce, very cool. Travis, I got some different feelings.
Yeah, Travis can take a long walk down a short pier. Let's put it that way. All right.
So, man, Travis is not going to be a cred head after that one.
No, he's not. He's already turned off the show. He and Tay Tay and their cats have retired for the night. All right, we're stick around for more No Credentials Required right after this message. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at LVIII Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, we can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. All right, I know NFL season's over. You're sad. I'm sad. We all get the sads, but that's okay other sports are going on. But not only just sports. You've also got plays. You've also got comedy shows. You've got concerts. You've got musicals. Culture is all around us, folks. Not just sports, but outside, like music and comedy and drama and all that kind of stuff. Where can you get yourself some sweet tickets at some sweet prices? Go to SeatGeek.com, and when you enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, for first-time customers, for new customers, you get $20 off your purchase of $50 or more. So let's say, for instance, you want to go to a hockey game. Boom. Go to SeatGeek, look at the seating chart, look at all the tickets, the green circles, the green dots in those sections mean you get the best price in those sections. What do you want to go to? What if you're in Florida or in Arizona? Spring training starts tomorrow. You want to go to a spring training game. Boom. SeatGeek. Look at the seating chart. Green dots indicate the best prices possible. And you get an additional discount on your ticket with promo code BellyUpSports at checkout. You get $20 off your first order of $50 or more. And like the handsome man in the voiceover said, SeatGeek, life's an event. We have the tickets. So, let's talk about the rest of the Super Bowl. And we're talking about the Super Bowl ads and the halftime show featuring Usher, plus a cavalcade of other R&B superstars. But let's talk about the ads first, Dustin. I thought they were kind of boring.
I did too. For the most part. To me, Dun Kings was the MVP. That one. And upon further review of, because I've watched it a couple times, and there's an extended cut out there, and I've watched that. The extended cut, it's got some stuff in it, but not, but for some reason in that moment, when Ben Affleck said Tommy touchdowns on the keys and it cut to Tom Brady on the keyboards, I lost it. But the real magic of that ad to me was Matt Damon being like playing so well to be disgusted to be there. It was
sometimes it's really difficult. Sometimes it's really difficult to be your friend.
Yes, or he's like, "How do you like them donuts? I'm so sorry."
Then you cut the J-Lo. We talked about this.
Yes. To me, that was the MVP of the commercials. I don't really remember many more. And see, the thing is, I feel like there's been, and I wonder if you agree with me here, Ryan, and anybody who's watching, anybody in the comments, chime in. But I feel that like Super Bowls of yore, like the when we were growing up, there were multiple commercials that everyone would be talking about the next day.
Yep.
Everybody. And there were so many, and it was you're wondering the Budweiser frogs, the Wazop, all the kind of stuff.
The Bud Bowl. Remember the Bud Bowl?
The Bud Bowl. Yes. I was always rooting for
Team star quarterback.
Yeah. But there were so many that everybody would be talking about. Usually there was always a Doritos one in there. Doritos could usually get you talking.
Yep.
I feel like the commercials have gone down over the last, I'd say maybe close to a decade or so. The commercials just haven't been what I remember them being. And maybe part of it is I'm growing up. Maybe I'm not as focused on the game as I used to be sometimes, because I'm running around, I'm talking to people. The host with the most I was trying to be. But I just feel like there aren't that many memorable ones anymore. That's why the Dun Kings one was such a breath of fresh air for me, because for me it was completely unexpected. And part of it is the internet too. Sometimes you might catch an odd commercial on YouTube before the Super Bowl that you think is really funny, but then the surprise wears off because you see it in the Super Bowl and you're saying, well, I've already seen this before.
Yeah, to me the commercials were they lacked humor. And like you said, Dustin, before, it just seems like a lot of companies are afraid to take a chance anymore. Part of it is that they don't want to touch sensibilities of people.
Yes.
The other part of it is that they're not trying to sell a product, they're trying to sell their virtue. And I saw some ads that were kind of like that. The Volkswagen ad was one of them. Oh, we're going to EV. Yeah, we know you're going to EV. Everybody's going to
Yeah,
EV.
everybody's got it. Yeah.
I personally think it's a fad, but some people like EVs. Good for them. Let them drive EVs.
Mhm.
The He Gets Us commercial and He Gets Us commercial. Full disclosure, I am a believer. I'm a Christian. I go to church. I go to small groups. We talked a little bit about it at the Super Bowl party. There were some things I disagreed with in that commercial that I could dive into a little bit more, but this is a sports podcast, not a theological podcast.
Yeah.
I'll save the Monday morning sermon quarterbacking for another time. But there were 3 commercials that kind of stood out. Well, 3.5 actually. Dunkings was one of them. They were actually selling the suits that not the suits that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon wore, but they were actually selling the track suits, the jacket, and the pants. They were selling them separately on Dunkin' sites.
Oh man.
But upon further inspection, looking at the suits, it had the Boston
Yes.
Red Sox logo.
Yeah.
Had a couple Boston teams logos. I'm like, nope, I can't buy this. I can't wear
I
this.
know.
I cannot wear
I
this.
know. It says Boston like embroidered on it, at
Yeah.
least when I was watching the commercial. So and we have
I'm
a
blinded by
PSA.
the pinstripes. I'm blinded by the pinstripes, as Ben
Yes.
says in that commercial. I'm fully on board. I am blinded by the pinstripes. Can't help
Yep.
it.
Yep. It's true. It's true. And we have a PSA on our show related to Boston. So I mean, we could not wear those suits.
I will play that PSA right now. Even though he hasn't checked in, he's not in the chat. I will play that PSA. Where is it? There it is.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
I think we're going to be using that a lot in the upcoming baseball season.
I'm pretty sure if you show up in the chat, he would also say F Duncan.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, controversial take. I know I'm going to get some heat for this, but I'm not Dunkin' Donuts, I don't mind the donuts. There's companies that I think make better donuts, but if you put a Dunkin' Donut in front of me, I'm going to eat it.
Like Duck Donuts.
Yes, Duck Donuts, Bellinopoli, great local bakery here to the Latham area. They got the best donuts in the area, in my opinion. Skylar Bakery in Watervliet also has very good donuts. Cider Belly. We got a lot of good local donut places.
And if any of these fine establishments want us to sponsor, no credentials required. We're more than welcome to us. You can follow us on our socials. We got DM, send us a DM. Slide into our DMs.
Yeah. Serious inquiries only. No, but their coffee, however, is another matter entirely. I am not a fan of their coffee. Not at all. And I'll just leave it at that because I have very strong feelings regarding Dunkin's coffee. And I'll be drinking Invader only on this show. But Dunkin's coffee, no bueno, in my opinion.
I wonder if there's going to be a clapback commercial by Starbucks with well-known Seattle athletes or actors coming out. Like Chris Pratt comes out. And don't forget the Pringles commercial was good too.
Which one was that? I'm trying to remember.
It's Chris Pratt.
Oh, okay.
As Mr. Pringle.
It's Mr. Pringle. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give it to Mario.
Yeah. So don't forget about that. So Dunkings, Chris Pratt Pringles, the Christopher Walken BMW commercial was pretty funny too.
He was laughing about that. I forget if I was taking some trash out to the garage or what, but everybody's laughing.
You were indisposed.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And there was one more commercial. Oh, the Bet MGM commercial with Vince Vaughn and Tom Brady. Not Tom. Anybody can play.
Oh yeah, not Tom Brady. That one was okay. Where it's like you can play, but not Tom.
Ooh, God bless you.
I muted that one successfully.
There you go.
But Yeah, that one I did like, and I think it's a little, I might be overthinking the room here, but I think it's a little synergy that the Bet MGM was saying anybody but Tom Brady, and then later in the Dunk Kings commercial, Jennifer Lopez unceremoniously dismisses everyone with the exception of one Tom Brady. So I might be overthinking it a little bit, but that seems like a chess, not checkers move to me.
So I'm gonna throw this Simpsons reference out there. It reminds me of the everyone can play except Tom Brady commercial. Remind me of the Simpsons episode where Homer becomes the chosen one of the stonemasons club, and because of the birthmark he has,
Yep, the stone
and then
cutters.
the Stonecutters, yes, the Stonecutters. I'm sorry, the Stonecutters, yes. And by the end of the episode, they formed they got sick of Homer saying, "Oh, we should help the neighborhood," because of the insistence of Lisa. I hate Lisa. On her insistence to help the neighborhood and not just be an exclusive boys club where they decide who wins the Oscars and who wins the Super Bowl. I think the Stonecutters, they're the ones who created the psyop for this Super Bowl. They want the
That's
Chiefs to win.
true. That's true.
So at the end of the episode, they decided to form the No Homers Club. And by the end, Homer says, "Hey, what about that Homer? Yeah, it's No Homers Club because allow only one Homer." So that's what the Bet MGM commercial remind me of that. But there's one commercial that only showed for 30 seconds.
Mhm.
But if you go to YouTube, I'm going to play it for you right now, Dustin, because I said don't watch this
Oh,
commercial.
yes,
Watch the
that's
full
right.
commercial. Because I asked if you watched the full thing. You said
Mhm.
no. But this is probably this. I was hoping they played this commercial during the Super Bowl, but unfortunately, it was only during halftime you saw it, and it was only a 30-second spot. It wasn't the full minute and a half. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I'm gonna play that spot for you right now. What again? I gotta mention, this is for free and fair use, and it's also being played on YouTube. So YouTube, if you strike us, that's your damn fault.
And Creed's here.
Watch and learn. Dang, he's cool. It's the fifth quarter, and we need a hole-in-one before the seventh inning stretch. Be brave. Hike! Can you take me higher? To a place where I might see. I just threw him higher. Come on. To a place where we won't freeze.
He just threw me high. I'm good.
So close.
How are we gonna get up there?
Now, if there were only someone made of pigskin.
Bingo.
Oh, dear.
All right, I will say the full version is better. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
that one's good.
I Levac and guys had mentioned in their show. Shout out to them. They were at Radio Row last week, and it was good to see them back there. I sent guys the full commercial. He's like, "What is going on in this commercial?" I'm like, "It has everything. It's got everything. It's got drama. It's got comedy. It's got Knuckles. It's got Creed."
A very deep voiced Knuckles. I was not expecting that.
Thomas Lennon, throw him.
Yeah. And Tom Lennon, I didn't know you had quite a back tattoo you got there.
Yeah. Now, full disclosure, I do like Creed. I saw them. I've seen them twice in concert back in the day. That was back in the day. But apparently they're on tour again this year. They're doing a Summer of '99 tour.
Yeah, they're like having a moment. We were talking about it. It goes all the way back to what team used them?
Texas Rangers. They played higher after every victory during the postseason.
Yes. And then the Minnesota Vikings were doing it when they had that. They started out terribly, and then they had that 5-game win streak right before Kirk Cousins went down. You know that they were playing Creed as well. So Creed's
Yep.
having a moment here.
They are. They are.
Good to see old Mark Tremonti and his Paul Reed Smith back on the mountain.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, Tremonti's never really left. You know,
No, he had Altered Bridge. Yeah,
had his own band called Tremonti. So
yeah.
one of the best guitarists of our era, that's for sure. Rock guitarists of our era, that's for sure. But speaking of music, the halftime show.
Yeah.
It was all right. It wasn't great. Wasn't outstanding. There were no wardrobe malfunctions, which is kind of unfortunate, but or fortunate if you're, if you don't want to see certain artists drop their drawers or expose their boobs on TV. Your impressions, Dustin?
I think part of it had to do with maybe I have to recalibrate some things on the sound system, but I do have to give Usher one major tip of the cap. And that is, it was extremely obvious that he was actually singing and talking live. So I have to tip my cap off to him for that, because you don't see that much anymore. But he was not using, at least for the lead vocal, he was not using backing tracks, and the man can dance. But that's kind of where it stops. I was not awed by this performance. There's nothing, I remember the year Katy Perry was performing at the halftime show. There was that whole like left shark movement and like everything, so that became a whole thing.
That actually might have been Pat's Seahawks.
Oh yeah, maybe that's why I remember it.
Hold on, research.
But then I blacked out. After what happened at the end of that game. I thought we were going to have a helmet catch 2, because we did with Jermaine Kearse. We had a helmet catch 2, and it could have been their moment. But don't get me started on that game.
Yeah, it was Super Bowl 49.
Okay,
Super Bowl 49 was when the Patriots. That was the play. That was the play.
That was the play.
Where you blacked out, but
no, I did. But
yeah, it wasn't quite. Lady Gaga.
No.
Jumping off the side of the build of the stadium. It wasn't Bruno Mars at the New York Super Bowl. That was an outstanding performance. I wish I was like, I said to myself after that performance, I said, that dude should be at every Super Bowl from now until he dies.
Yeah.
He was that good.
Yeah, very good performance. And I'm trying to think of some other memorable ones, but this one I even liked. I mean, last year, 50 Cent got a lot of flack and everything, but I love that, having like Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, the whole that I thought that was very. That was 2 years ago. I don't know. I can't remember. Probably was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember L.A. 2 years ago.
That was with Rihanna.
Dr. Dre.
Oh, Rihanna was last year. Okay. That's what it was.
Pregnant Rihanna from
which I thought she did I thought she did a very good job, but I mean, I got a thing for Riri, if you're out there, hello. But yeah, it's not it just didn't, like I said, major props for him actually singing live. I respect him for that. He's got moves, but it just didn't do it for me.
One performance, but one band I would love to see at Super Bowl, but it will never happen because now we're doing all these throwback performances. Like last year was Rihanna, this year was Usher. So like they're reaching for the demographic who was listening to that kind of music back 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But NFL, I've got an idea for you for Super Bowl halftime show for next year. If you ever decide to play the Super Bowl in Europe, whether it be Munich or Berlin, maybe even London, I'm going to recommend Rammstein for the halftime show. Because if you've never seen a video of Rammstein live with all the pyrotechnics and crazy stuff that they do on stage, you're missing out. It's like, yeah, their music requires a certain musical taste, like mine. Full disclosure, I'm a closeted metalhead.
Oh, you don't have to be closeted, man. You can come. You
right.
come right out.
All right, I'm out and proud. I'm a metalhead.
There we go.
Rammstein. Guy, come on, NFL. Roger Goodell. I know you don't. I know performers don't charge these days for halftime performances because it's all sponsored. But come on, Rammstein, sponsored by BMW.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, and I could throw out a couple. Shout out to a woman I went to high school with. She's got a very good band. If you're in the Nashville area, check them out. Alana Royale. They do a great job. I know she would crush it at the Super Bowl, but and they're also touring, so check them out. But I would also like just go a little bit, like you said, they're reaching for a certain demographic, but just go a little off brand. Like I would love to see them be like, you want to bring back older acts, like give us some Iron Maiden in there or something, something a little. We could have Eddie dressed up as one of the football teams coming out. It'd be great.
I got it. Next year's halftime show. Actually, no, the next time the Super Bowl is in Dallas, we got to run it back with Creed during the halftime show.
Oh, I remember that.
I remember Thanksgiving 1998 or 99.
I'm going to guess 99.
Halftime performance ever.
That was a good, it was a good one. And
they played higher during that show.
Yes, I remember that one. I remember that. And I think old Scott Stapp was wearing a Cowboys jersey out there.
He was wearing Drew Bledsoe jersey that day.
Oh man. Oh yeah, that's right. That takes me way
back. Real-time research. Creed, let's see. Creed Thanksgiving halftime show.
I'm trying to remember when Bledsoe played for the Cowboys. So it might have been like 03 because didn't he? No. I'm trying to remember because
it was 2001, not 1990.
Okay, that was going to be my next guess was 2001, but then I thought he was on the Bills at that time. But no, I think he went to the Bills, I think maybe after the Cowboys, because I think he was only on the Cowboys for like a year. I'm trying to remember now. My Drew Bledsoe, he's making wine now.
Because Drew Bledsoe was on that 2001 team. His injury paved the way for Patrick Brady to be a nightmare in our sports lives for the next 20 years. I mean, greatest of all time. Yay. Well, he wore number 11, but I'm trying to find. So it was his own Cowboys jersey. He had his own name in the back. So no, he wore number 11, but he has his own name on the nameplate on the back.
Oh, okay. All right. Stapp. Yep. That's right. Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know if anybody heard it. Hopefully not. But my Amazon device started randomly playing music. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So no copyright strikes there, YouTube. It wasn't our fault.
Yeah.
All right. So next year at this time, we'll be talking about the Super Bowl that's going to happen in New Orleans. And I'm trying to remember the next. Let's look at the next couple Super Bowls by year. So no, I want the Super Bowl cities by year. So next year it's going to be in New Orleans.
Okay, big easy. What could we do?
And I don't know where 2026 is going to be. Hang on. Up to World 2025. Well, next year, for next season, it's going to be in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Then the following season, it's going to be in Santa Clara. And they haven't announced Super Bowl 61 yet. So 59 New Orleans, 60 in Santa Clara, 61 TBD. And please award it to Dallas so we can run it back with Creed at halftime. Thank you. Good all right. So I think we're going to wrap things up at this point here. So I just want to remind you about our social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, right down here below. It's at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/at NoCredsREQ. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social media channels right down here below. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you can podcast at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, the soon-to-be departed Google Play, Good Pods, wherever you podcast. Leave us a rating. 5 stars is preferred. And if you can, on a platform that supports it, leave a review. We might even read your review on the air. Programming note, no show this Saturday. I will be heading down to Suffern for the afternoon, or for the morning, excuse me. So we won't be able to do our regular Saturday brunch. And I believe the following Saturday, well, we won't have a Saturday brunch either. So we'll be back on this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Well, we promise we'll have a game plan of what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
Because the NFL is over. So we got to fill some spaces in. Maybe we might do a segment. We might even debut This Week in Sports Ball.
There we go.
Next week. So stay tuned. We'll try to announce on social media, whether it be on the Facebook or the Twitter or the Instagram or even the TikToks. We don't know. We'll figure it out. So, in the meantime, you have been, thanks for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. We'll see you here next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. But in the meantime, we'll talk to you next time.
Good night, everybody. Shout out to the cred heads. I'm going to make it a thing.
Sports Ball!